What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? It's the Mr. 444 show back at y'all with another one. And it's a topic I definitely want to address. And I couldn't let it go without speaking on this topic because y'all know one thing about me. I'm a Laker fan of heart. So y'all definitely know that. I'm going to definitely give it to y'all the real. Y'all definitely know that. And I feel I had to address this because there's a lot of brewing between Stephen A. and LeBron. And this sort of like JAYZ versus Nas with Stephen A with the takeover. Then LeBron James come back with the Pat McAfee show and give us that ether. And then Stephen A go on first take and give us super ugly some things he shouldn't have said that he probably could take back when it refers to my boy Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean? I just feel like I had to address some things about Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant is not here to defend himself. And there's some issues I take in when it comes to both of them not wrong. I understand LeBron James as a dad, but there's some issues that I want to address with LeBron James first. And it's some issues with some things that he said and how he went about it. And I want to address LeBron James to you personally, right? LeBron James, since you came in the league, you claimed yourself the chosen one, right? You came to the league, McDonald's All American, my young brother. You had a great game. You showed that you took the league by storm. You accepted the number 23 and you gave us LeBron James at his heights. You gave us some great years of superstardom. You did so much that you had an agenda that we didn't know you had. And you had your own agenda when you first came in the league. And I believe that's to be yourself and not be Michael Jordan. I believe you really didn't want to be like Michael Jordan. You wanted to be King James, that you claimed yourself the chosen one. You know when you was drafted, right? And you went to Cleveland. You That basically was like your college. Then you got on the Jim Gray show where you claimed yourself the chosen one. And you did great things, right? You've been in this league for 20 years, and what longevity is being is a detriment to you. This longevity can hurt you or help you, depends on how you look at it. Because when you first came in the league, you was King James. We was more focused on your basketball accolades and your acclimates and everything, and how great you was on the court and how brilliant you was, and you gave players back their voice to be able to steer their own career. I believe you spearheaded that when you gave players that hope that we can put our own career in our hands. Look what LeBron James is doing. So you set precedent for that to be able to control your own destiny, to be able to get these owners to be able to do things for you. And one thing I can say, LeBron James, you was the daddy to the NBA. You are the father to these NBA guys now because Carmelo Anthony said you address Stephen A for us. So that means that they wanted, so they've been feeling brewing about this guy for a long time about his sports. But LeBron James, when it comes to the journalists and everything, when it comes to everybody, you got to play fair, right? And one thing you did, LeBron James, you invited us into your world. You gave us your life. You gave us your best friends. You started out with giving us your best friends, Rich Paul, Maverick Carter. You brung them into this league. So if somebody had to critique Rich Paul or Maverick Carter, you brought them into the league, right? So anybody has anything that they want to talk about, whether what type of business deals Clutch Sports does, you bear some of that burden because you introduced these guys to us, LeBron James. You bring these guys to us. You decide to put your family, your friends on and say, I'm going to give everybody jobs. And you know what? I take my hat off to you for that. You know, for you to be able to be a great player and bring your friends along and get them to be an agent and everything with that, what you did, that's greatness in my eyes, LeBron James. That is greatness. I'll tell you that. Because you know what? You set the precedent for a lot, but when you start introducing people to us, we are able to critique them. Then you do so much in the league, you drop Space Jam, right? And you know what you did, LeBron James? You introduced us to Bryce. You want us to you gave the world Bryce, not saying nothing's wrong with that, but when Mike did Space Jam, he didn't by himself, he involved himself. It was he put the mirror on him. When you looked at Space Jam with, I mean, yes, you introduced us to your son Bryce, which is a great kid, phenomenal kid. Look like he's going to have one of the greatest careers that God has set forth for him. And I wish him well in whatever he decides to do, LeBron James. You did a great job with your boys. I give you that, and I could just know what's coming for that little girl that you have. I just know nothing but greatness is coming. But you introduced us to your people, right? And you introduced us to Bronny, you introduced us to Bryce, and you bringing your kids along just like you bring your friends. So they share the same criticism as Rich Paul once shared before, or Maverick Carter if they share anything about how they spearheaded and do deals with these general managers and everything. Maybe people didn't like the way Clutch Sports was doing business or whatever, but they did it the right way. They became who they are later for people who was jealous of them. I believe Mitch with a little jealousy and monopolizing, but the way they did it, you introduced Maverick Carter and Rich Paul. You introduced us to LeBron James and everything. We never seen this before. We never had a star where they had to get their kids into the league. And I don't think your contemporaries want to follow your same path. Is how you doing it, because I see how Carmelo Anthony is out the league. These people is out the league already. I believe your longevity is going to catch up to you, because I believe, imagine you would have retired, let Braun go in the background, take your son to, practice, fly him like Kobe did with Gigi. After he got out the league, he was able to focus on her career and take the magnifying glass off of him and put it on her. So when she get ready to go into the league, they don't have to pay attention to her dad. So whether she end up playing for LA Sparks or whatever, he could have, Gigi probably would have been the best point guard, the LA Sparks, you ask me. But for you to go on the Pat McAfee show and do things like that, that was unprecedented, LeBron James. I believe that you are better than that. I understand, I get it. The parenting you, we never, no star kid has ever made it in no sports franchise. Maybe Jackie Robinson, Ken Griffey Jr. and his father, they was probably great stars. When you look at Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey's dad, when you start looking into people that, but when you start looking at the Michael Jordan kid, Scottie Pippen kid, the Gary Payton kids, and stars' sons don't really fare well pan out to what they pops was. But it's always the role players' kids that become stars. Just think about all the role players' kids that became stars. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. Look at them. Look at them. Jared Jackson Jr. You know what I mean? When you look at some of these, Kobe Bean Bryant, his father played in the NBA and wasn't a star, and he became a star. Look at all the role players, kids coming in the league today that's taking this world by storm. Gary Payton's son, he has a ring already. A role player once again. So normally we get in some. So we don't normally imagine when we was critiquing Steph Curry saying, "Oh no, he got bad ankles. This guy wouldn't do it." You know what I mean? Why his father and why they let him into the league? This is it's always a star that is unprecedented, LeBron James. So you got to give these journalists a break. Some things is unprecedented. We never seen it, LeBron James. I understand Stephen A. when it comes to him calling the sport of basketball and how it resonates with you today. LeBron James, the longevity that you have, no one played this long to be able to get a look at what's going on and understand. I don't imagine Michael Jordan's son came into the league and he had to pay attention to this while he was in the league. Do you think he would have been great? Do you think Kobe Bryant, with his son in the league, the prism, the eyes that will be on these star players? Look at Shaq's son. Look at all these stars, kids. If they try to wait till they leave away from the game, you lasted a little bit too long, and you may last till Bryce come out. So now you got to understand moving forward, if you are here to Bryce come out and understand the way things work when it comes to this basketball and calling these games today. Today. Things change, LeBron James, and I want you to understand that you're a great player, you're a great father, you epitomize what a man did on that basketball court. But when it comes to these journalists, LeBron James, let them think what they think. They said a lot about Michael Jordan, trust me. They said a lot about Kobe when he was going through that times where he was going through his case. The things they said about my boy, I was there, what they called him, what they were saying on the internet about him, what they was taking personal jabs at him and his family. He was flying from court to games and have to deal with the scrutiny and what these journalists were saying about him, but he was able to overcome of what the outside say. So LeBron James, I think Stephen A. gave you enough fuel in his interview when he said that for you to be great, for LeBron James to be great. It's fuel. It's not no more back in the days where they just talk about anything. LeBron James, this is the day of social media. The NBA losing ratings, you would want to be talked about, whether it's good or bad, LeBron James. Just don't, I'm not giving Stephen A. pardon, but when it comes to this journalist, when it comes to social media, these people can say anything about your family, and you can't break. You know, you went on the Pat McAfee show and gave her ether, and then you let Stephen A. go ahead and do the super ugly, and then now he had to backtrack. You know, Stephen A. been in this game for a long time, LeBron James. You're going to be here when you're gone. He just signed a $100 million contract. I don't think ESPN want to waive him and give him $100 because you already have a huge network on YouTube. And you, Stephen A., it's certain things you don't want to bring up my boy Kobe Bryant. You don't know what Kobe Bryant would have did. Kobe Bryant was just that person. He has a different mentality. So you can't put that mentality and share that mentality with LeBron James. You really can't do that. And you can't get personal with, you can't use that. You're supposed to have kept it on that night. LeBron James kept it on that night. He said you was on a Taylor Swift tour run. It's certain things you shouldn't veer towards. You better than that, Stephen A. I watch you all the time. I look at your shows. Shout outs to Molly. Shout outs to Big Perk. Shout outs to all of y'all on First Take. I always watch y'all, but I think that Stephen A., your super ugly verse, when you came back, I'm quite sure your mama told you to apologize too, or if she not, may she rest in peace, or she told you from heaven. She seems like she raised a great son. that epitomize this sport of basketball, football, and baseball. And you'll do a damn job and you deserve every penny you're worth, Stephen A. But you can't get personal sometimes. You know, I understand that you already got the first take ratings. You already number one reading show. But you're gonna let him go on a Pat McAfee show and give you that ether. You had a when you know what I mean. You came out with a takeover. He sat on it for a little bit, and then he waited till he seen you. I don't think he should have walked up on you. I don't think that was right. He could have just waited to do that in some interview to be able to get it off his chest instead of walking up on you and showing Bronny and his kids a different side of him. Because I don't know, do we look at it as my dad trying to protect me or my dad was trying to be a bully? How do you think your kids look at it? That somebody's going to say something about Bryce if he get in the league. Would it be okay for Bronny to walk up and say, "Don't talk about my brother"? Would it be okay for Bryce to walk up and say, "Don't talk about my brother"? You don't want to set that type of precedent, LeBron James. You want to teach your kids that they said sticks and stones. You know, at the end of the day, that everybody's talking about your son. We don't think he probably was ready at the moment. You want to win. But how bad do you want to win? You could waste a roster spot. I don't think you would have wasted a 15-man roster spot in Cleveland because you wanted to win. I don't think you would have wasted that roster spot in Miami because you wanted to win. You accomplished a lot of things already, LeBron James, so you still want to win, but it got an asterisk on it. You told the world you want to be able to play with your son. You told the world about your son. You gave us your son, so what you did was gave us fuel to talk about something in the future. You know you don't want to be able to see you're not talking about Bryce no more. You're not sitting there saying, "I want to be in the league with Bryce and this and that and the third." You don't want to say that. Luka gave you longevity now. There's a possibility that you could play with Bryce, but I want you to make sure that you handle this situation if it comes with Bryce in a different form. I don't exonerate Stephen A. Smith, but I do understand him because at the end of the day, I was listening to that interview. And to be able to talk to you and tell you what not to do, he didn't want to give Bronny that smoke. Imagine he would have just said everything. He focused it on you because he still cared about your kid, even if he took an attack on you as a father. Right? He never said nothing bad about Bronny James. It actually was kind of sensitive that when I watched that show that day. He went out there and everybody on the internet talking about he's not ready. You really wanted to play with your son, and that's what they did. It happened for you. You had a dream come true. Not many people get that chance. Enjoy the dream that God gave you. Because this is only one chance you get. You setting a precedent, King James. Because Kobe, he only wanted to be one thing, and that's great. I haven't seen Kobe answer a media. You had to sit down with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was cut from a different cloth. He played for the Lakers, and I feel like I have a right to talk about him because I had to let Kobe, Kobe is that person that he loves every Laker. He's a great. But I don't think Stephen A. should have brought Kobe involved because at the end of the day, that was childish. That's the only thing I have a problem with Stephen A. Kobe's my guy. He represented the Lakers. He was a Black Mamba, 5-time champion, league MVP, most points in a game in NBA history behind Wilt Chamberlain. Assassin, no friends, no kumbaya. He wasn't friends with nobody. All he cared was about that silver and gold. That's all you should care about. Everything else Take the naysayers out and represent that silver and gold like you want to, LeBron James. Represent the silver and gold like Kobe did, and you okay, don't care about what nobody else is. Yes, I believe you and Kobe Bryant would have been friends, and I understand why Kobe Bryant wasn't friends with people because he was an assassin. He epitomized what that basketball court would have been. 8/24, rest in peace. The black mama will live on till I die. You hear me? So when Stephen A. brought up Kobe, I just felt like I had something to say. I understand what you feel, LeBron James, Stephen A. I understand how you feel too, because you call a game of basketball and you call it where it is, and you give it down the line, and you always for the players getting their money. You always been for the players. You always had that your ticker up there talking about LeBron James is the greatest basketball player, philanthropist, person you know. But Stephen A., ask yourself, was it worth it? You won, Stephen A. You're $100 million man. You came from Queens, New York. You did something that not many people from out of Queens did outside of rap, outside of anything else. Name me one huge journalist as big as you that came out of Queens, New York. Represent the five boroughs. Like, I understand you from New York, you're very brave. And I understand you call a foul, you call a ball, and you call a strike. But next time, please don't add Kobe Bryant. There's other conversations to be had with him other than rhetoric. So I'll leave y'all with this LeBron James, Stephen A. Y'all both been great to the sport. Y'all both is responsible for what the sport has today. When it's all said and done, y'all got a lot to tell. Stephen A., I'll be tuning into your YouTube channel. You stay true to yourself and make sure that I just hope that you and that brother LeBron James can sit down and come to grips. And keep calling the game, Stephen A. Don't let this deter you from kumbaya. Because I understand you, of course, you sitting down with Kobe, you have something he has. And that's something I look at you as a journalist. So continue to be what you do. I see you on First Take. And I just had to say, you know what? Like I said, it kind of reminds me of JAYZ and Ether. Stephen A. gave us the takeover. LeBron James gave us the Ether. And Stephen A. gonna come with that super ugly. Both the takeover and Ether was great, but Ether merge you, brother. Then you go out with that super ugly stuff. I don't know, Stephen A. I don't know, man. But I do want you to understand, Stephen A., that I do look at you as a human being, a person that makes mistakes. And keep calling it like it is. I feel Bronny is not there yet. He needs some more time to grow. And I believe LeBron James had a part to play in that. And he should understand that these type of conversations are unprecedented because it's the first time we have a star son and his son is in the league together. So he need to recalibrate that and think about how the game used to be called. A lot of things happening today in the NBA is unprecedented. These players saying they want out. They don't want to be here. So much things is so now these journalists have got to understand how we called it back then and how we called it today. You can't call it the same, Steve and LeBron James. And I just want y'all to know that's my take on this. Definitely like and subscribe. And LeBron James and Stephen A. get y'all stuff together. Y'all gonna sit there and be together. You know what I mean? Sit down, talk like men. And Stephen A., you keep calling the game, and LeBron James, you keep being there for your son. But like I said, you gave us your son in Space Jam. You gave us Bronny James. You gave us interviews on your son, how he wanted your son to be. So you have to understand that we only talking about what you gave. And y'all, and that's it for me. Until next time, it's Mr. 444.